As lifters, we'll buy our 10th barbell before we add a piece of cardio to our home gym. But the better shape you are in, the more volume you can handle, you'll likely live a little bit longer and you'll probably look better naked. But quality cardio equipment is expensive, or is it? We've had the MERACH NovaRow R50 in the gym for the last 6 months. It folds up, stores away easily, and it comes in at almost half of the Concept2. The question is, at half the price, is this half the rower, or is this the cardio deal of the century? What's up everyone, Joe Gray here today to talk about the MERACH NovaRow R50. I've owned several C2 rowers over the years, but always had to sell them due to space constraints. At least that's what I told myself. I received an email from MERACH earlier this year to take a ride with their rower, and since my wife and I are actually including more cardio in our diets lately, we took them up on their offer. We set up a little space on the back patio dedicated to cardio, courtesy of my friends at Living Fit, and we got to work. I recently borrowed my neighbor's C2 rower as well for some side-by-side comparisons, so we can see where they managed to shave over $500 from the price tag. We're going to spend the majority of this video looking at these two rowers, the MERACH R50 and the Concept2, side by side. If you're considering buying the MERACH, you're likely looking at whether it is good enough or if you should simply pony up for the C2. Quick housekeeping items for you. MERACH sent over the NovaRow R50 and gave me access to their full app for free for sake of review. I also have a discount code and an affiliate link. Using those will save you some cash, give me a small kickback that helps me buy my next barbell. I appreciate your support. Let's dig in. A quick glance side by side and we'll see that these rowers are physically nearly identical. Same length, same width, same nickel-plated steel chain, same rail for the seat, both have steel legs and an aluminum frame that is rated for over 300 pounds. Both of these rowers break in half in the same exact way for storage purposes. MERACH says not to store theirs vertically like we have done for the last 4 months, so definitely don't do that. Both are easily adjustable for multiple athletes, whether we are talking about the dampener on the fan that can adjust the resistance from 1 to 10, or maybe looking at the ergonomic handle, which fits in my beefy hands and my daughter's, or even the adjustable foot straps that can fit most shoe sizes from big to small. Our only differentiating items today are the colors of the stickers, the seat, and the monitor. Obviously, we know that black and white is the superior aesthetic choice, so the C2 wins handsomely there. The seat on the MERACH is a bit bigger, has a bit more padding, and is arguably a bit more comfortable. I find the C2 seat, you need to sit on the front of it a bit more to stay in place, where the MERACH you sit comfortably on the seat without losing your position. Interestingly enough, if you decide that the C2 seat isn't ideal, there are a ton of aftermarket options available online, most for under 100 bucks. So this is a slight win for the MERACH, but because of the retrofit option, I wouldn't make my decision on which rower is best right there. That leaves us with the monitor. The Concept2 has their PM5, which is easy to use and navigate whether it is your first time or 500th time rowing. Whether you simply want to row and have it track your basic metrics, you want to tackle a simple workout, or you want it to give you some more competitive details to push your rowing to the next level, the PM5 has got it. It is exactly what I want in a monitor. Now, everything I just said about the PM5 is the exact opposite for the MERACH monitor. It somehow makes the easiest of tasks difficult. You have 3 buttons: set, mode, and reset. You start off by hitting set to select the manual option. The other one doesn't do anything. You then press mode, which gives you manual, interval, or target options, which you scroll through by pressing the set button. To select the mode you want, you then hit mode. You keep repeating the cycle of set to scroll through things and mode to select things until you get to your workout. If you accidentally pick the wrong thing, you can hit reset to go back a step or hold reset to start over from the beginning. Just in the basic execution of these buttons, what they're labeled, and the number of things you have to do to get to where you want to get to, the MERACH is much less intuitive than the PM5. The button layout and their associated actions I found so confusing that week to week I forget what buttons to press and what order to do the workout I want to do. On top of that, a number of the modes are really poorly executed. A good example being the time target option. If I select 2 minutes, it starts counting down right away, before I start rowing or the handle is even in my hands. The same goes for manual. It starts counting up as soon as you hit the button. You also don't have any control on the monitor changing displays while rowing, which seems to do every 5 seconds. So if you're trying to nail a certain time or distance and are using this in manual mode, good luck. And you have no adjustments to the contrast or brightness of the monitor screen. So if you happen to be in a dark lit room or have lots of shadows going on, it's going to be almost impossible to see. Now, I will state that I have not had problems with this in our gym. We are very well lit in here, even in our backyard with the sun and stuff, we're good to go. But I have read more than a handful of people stating that this was an issue, including my dude Luke over at Luke's Garage Gym. So I take him for his word on that one. The crazy part here, honestly, with the monitor discussion is I really only want the basics in my monitor. I would probably use something as simple as a 500-meter row where I can see my strokes and time for the vast majority of my workouts. With the PM5, that's easy. With the MERACH, it is not. MERACH would honestly be better off selling this rower with no monitor at all and saving everyone a few extra bucks. I've decided that when using the MERACH, I either just go hard until I need a break, or I use my phone as a timer and abandon all the other monitor and metric stuff entirely. Real quick note for you, people asked about connecting the PM5 to the MERACH, but it seems like they aren't calibrated the same. There were a number of comments, again, on our home gym, on my post, that people tried to do this, tried to look into how to make it happen, but they don't work together well. So the C2 and the MERACH flywheels are just different enough that your calculations would be off and kind of mess up the whole point. MERACH does have an app, which I tinkered around with a bit. Once you get logged in, you can see that the app will track your basic metrics and gives you some options much similar to the baked-in stuff for the PM5. You can pick from some basic scenery rowing options or choose to row in certain locations like across the Golden Gate Bridge and a number of other well-known destinations. Unfortunately, the views on the app are these kind of crummy 3D models that are really glitchy and not at all what it would be like if you were actually rowing in one of those locations. On top of that, staring at my phone while rowing hard and heavy and trying to get a real immersive experience with the scenery is a little difficult to do. You can cast the app to a larger screen like a TV, but now I gotta have the rower in front of the TV, which is an extra piece to the process. It's pretty clear that MERACH wants you to use their app and essentially skip the monitor entirely, but a lot of us don't want to use an app to do our workouts. I struggled a number of times to get logged in, reset passwords, and get the rower to connect via Bluetooth. All of these add friction to an activity that I already have to get excited for. And if I wanted to share the rower with my wife, my daughter, a neighbor, or maybe you wanted to put this in a private studio or CrossFit box, well, you would need app access for all of them. Not exactly conducive to a multiple athlete environment. I took a quick glance at the data policy for MERACH and they claim they aren't collecting or selling any of your personal data. So at least we aren't getting a deal on a rower and then taken advantage of on the back end on that piece. Overall, while the app might technically be better than the monitor, I didn't find it worth the time and investment to log into consistently. I got some great feedback over on our home gym again from a few people on the app piece. They mentioned that you were able to connect via the built-in Bluetooth to some other apps like Kino Map and track your heart rate information with some watches and things. But you're going to struggle to use other apps like Peloton as the rower doesn't seem to communicate well. So if you're trying to use this with something other than the kind of normal functions, your mileage may vary or not work at all. Okay, let's answer the original question. Is the MERACH NovaRow R50 good enough at half the price of the C2? This is going to boil down to one thing, which I'm sure you're already figuring out on your own, is do you care about the monitor at all? If you use a rower without touching the monitor, don't care about distance, tracking metrics, or features, the MERACH NovaRow R50 is physically almost identical to the Concept2. If you put on a blindfold and rode on them back and forth, you'd have a real hard time telling the difference between the two. Whether I have gone for longer distances or gone really hard, both rowers seem to match up equally well. Just don't touch the monitor. If you care about the monitor at all, even just the basics, the monitor on the MERACH was so frustrating that it made me not want to use it as often as I had it programmed. I really had to force myself to use it for the sake of this review. And if I had the choice of a C2 or the MERACH side by side, I'm going C2 all day. Concept2 is a small US company. They make fantastic equipment that lasts and is supported for years and years. Their rowers have stood the test of time, and they make a rower with a monitor I would actually want to use. If you find yourself in need of a rower, I would first hit up your local marketplace. I have consistently seen Concept2s in my area for only a little more than the MERACH is brand new, and I think it is a much better investment overall. If at some point you decide you don't want the rower anymore, it'll probably sell for whatever you paid for it. If you don't have that option, if you really want a rower and only see yourself using it very rarely, don't care about measurements or stats at all, and just want to row, MERACH is constantly running sales. I've got that discount code for you as well, and you can snag this thing for well under $500. The way I'm looking at it for our gym is the MERACH is getting the job done, but the C2 is our endgame rower. My wife was using the MERACH fairly consistently when it first showed up, but after we got back from vacation, I think she forgot how the monitor worked and gave up on it. Every time I get frustrated with the monitor, I'll get that itch, that idea that something better is out there waiting for us. We just need to go for it. Or I can just forget to return my neighbor's C2 and see what happens. And that, my friends, is the MERACH NovaRow R50 review. What do you think? Is the monitor being bad worth the savings, or are you going C2? Drop it in the comments below. If you want to know more about how I use cardio to improve my recovery, check out this video right here. And if you want to make sure you don't miss anything I'm working on, behind the scenes details, exclusive training tips from coaches and lifters, first thoughts on new products, sales, and more, sign up for my Garage Gym community newsletter. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be back with more home gym awesomeness for all of you very soon. Peace.